The court isn't going to just say like for them to decide in mediation like how they're going to resolve the issue, right? Because the way that they resolved it was a payment was made to Liza, right, and also Joe signed over his rights to pun. Basically, right, you're not just going to sign over the rights for no reason,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's a really sad and unfortunate situation. You know, I mean,
well, let me tell you this. I'm going to be clear. It could be twofold where he signed those rights. Maybe he signed the rights over because there was nothing left to monetarily gain off of that. The monetization, the finances were probably slow on the publishing due to the fact that the catalog wasn't being licensed enough to have any monetary gain. Or he just said, let me have a clear conscience, at least do this and sign it off, and I could be done with it and move on with my life. You feel what I'm saying? So in hindsight, there was something actually good done when he signed off those rights to Liza. Now Liza owns 100%, hopefully I'm correcting this because I don't want to be out here assuming and making claims as if it's law that she has.
Jelly Bean still owns a percentage of it until like a few more years.
But that's bullshit because, you know what I'm saying? Look at that though.
Yeah.
Now, I understand it's business. Don't get me wrong. I understand business. But at the same time, Jelly Bean was out here robbing, you know what I'm saying, my brother for his publishing and shit like that. And I say rob, I'm talking about this in this because I don't want to make general statements and not have context. If it was a production, in the 90s, they had these production deals where it was
right,
a 50% production deal and all that. A lot of that shit was bullshit, man. Let's keep it 100, Penny, because trust me, I was caught into that bullshit as well. You understand? I'm here to have an understanding in my head that Pun didn't really know what he was signing. He probably had a lawyer just mull over shit with him. Generally,
he didn't have a lawyer look at it. He just signed it, from what I understand.
Okay, so the understanding is that. So with that said, let's play it this way. If Pun signed that contract without a lawyer, without any legal standing in front of him, that says the other side understands that he signed a contract that they know is advantageous towards them.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? If you're going to make a contract, you're going to make a contract that's advantageous towards you because you're the company that wants to bear fruit of what's going on. You want to make money in hindsight. Now, that's good and that could be bad. Good because, you know what I'm saying, if it all depends on the person. I always say this in the music business or in business in general. It all depends on the person, meaning the person is going to be fair to you and make sure you get what you deserve and probably even more. If that's a kind-hearted, moral-standing person that don't give two fucks about the business, that just wants to, you know what I'm saying, rock out with you because y'all good money. Y'all doing this together. Or it could be a person that's going to take advantage of you. What do we have here? You understand? So now it's like, as the businessman, hey, yo, this artist is not supposed to sign this without no lawyer. Some business people will be like, yo, man, before you sign this, go get a lawyer. Because I don't want no misgivings of what we're going through business-wise. You understand? I want to make sure you know what you're signing.
Well, but let's keep it a buck, right? Because he signed that and the contract was 50%. So Joe was getting 50% of everything that Pun was getting. But then also Joe was his manager too, which he was double dipping, which is not allowed. That's illegal. Yeah. And he was getting 20% on top of that. So if you remember the whole situation with Cuban and Joe, when they had a meeting with the lawyer told Joe that what you're doing is illegal. You're not supposed to be able to have this man sign to you and you be his manager and you taking cuts from both. That was what kind of like got Joe really mad and told Cuban to get out, basically.
Well, double dipping is for sure what it was, but it holds no context. Meaning what happened there was a conflict of interest. You understand what I'm saying?
And other people have done that too. Like Suge Knight did that to Tupac, you know?
It can be done, but yet it's not supposed to be done because you could say he's the production company and he's the manager. Who's going to argue with whom when shit is not going right? When they say, hey, I don't like how this is going down. who's going to fight for you? It's really nobody, because the person that's supposed to fight for you is the same person, the production company and the manager. So there's nobody that's going to be there that's going to fight in your behalf. So it's a conflict of interest. And yes, it's double. When he said it's double dipping, meaning they're getting probably more money than you are, because if they're getting 50% over here and 20%, we all can put the math together. That's
Right.
70%. You understand what I'm saying? What do you have? So in hindsight, in the 90s, man, there was a lot of dirty dealers, man. There was all the puffies of the world, you know, these dudes with these record companies and these production companies. Hey, listen, man, shit happened to me too. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I know what it was. That's how I learned how to understand this business even more, because the people in those record companies were actually pushing me to the side and teaching me a thing or two. And I was like, that's when I kind of figured, like, hey, yo, I think I've got here. How am I gonna get out of this deal?
You know, that's kind of the sad thing, where it's like you had the white executives doing the shady business practices, teaching those business practices to black executives on the come up, and then the black executives turned around and did it to their own people. Right? Like that's kind of the sad situation there, where it's like it's breeding a cycle of doing the same thing. I got fucked over, now I'm going to fuck you over, and then it's going to keep on continuing.
Two things that align with that. It's all about money and power.
Mm-hmm.
None of this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't about money and power. So unfortunately, some people would get that fame way before they want to get that money and power. Now, in the 80s and 90s, in the 80s, it was happening in the 80s too, but not to the point where it was actually happening crazy in the 90s, because only very few people in the 80s had that connection to you know what I'm saying, white record company owners and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get the Sugar Hill records and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. Now, you know, I don't want to call them white people, but you know, it's just primarily white people in the music, executive side. But they said in their head, listen, I'm not going in these hoods talking to Jamal and them. I might get a cap on my ass and shit. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get the college black kid that's cool, you know what I'm saying, that can have an ear to the street and an ear in the books, you know, go in there and do my you know what I'm saying, my bidding for me to get these groups and artists to come over here to the record company. I'm not trying to go in the Bronx or Brooklyn, Queens or wherever to sort out these artists. I'll have them come to my office in Midtown Manhattan, where I'm safe at. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, grooming was prevalent in the 90s 100 times over, due to the fact that they would have these quote unquote brothers that can't rap or don't have talent. They'll teach them how to be executives. And, you know, they'll teach them how to shit over the people that they bring in for their gain, as far as financial and stuff like that. So they knew what they was doing, man. They like you said, they was just teaching them the game. So, you know, they'll do that to artists that they'll bring in and stuff like that, and they'll make money and fuck over the next person and do the next person dirty and shit like that. It was a dirty game in the 90s, man.
Well, look at what Jerry Heller had Eazy-E do, right? Screwed over his own brothers in NWA.
But see, that's what we got to do context, though. Because some are alluding to the fact that even Eazy didn't know what the fuck Jerry was doing. You feel what I'm saying? So now we got to sit here and work out the details, because now we're like, yo, did Eazy really know, or he didn't know? You know what I'm saying? Because it's really trying to save the characteristics of the artist that we so, you know, beloved and stuff like that we love to rock out with. Because now you're like,
he knew that Ice Cube wasn't getting the credit.
Let me just say this.
Right.
Let me see this. If they try to say, if Eazy didn't know, that we could love him even more and champion him and put him on a pedestal.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? To whereas now, if Eazy knew, he was a dirty motherfucker. He was some shifty ass dude and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't really put him up there because he was doing his own people foul. That's effed up. You feel what I'm saying? So like I said, in this day and era, and the era we're in right now, is everybody's trying to save their souls for what the fuck they did in the 90s and the 80s, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Because we're in the information era. Ever since that Cat Williams shit been going bonkers out here. Everybody's trying to clean up their acts.
You think that they're trying to, or you think that they're forced to?
I would say forced to. I would like to go with that.
Got you.
Because
Okay.
they wasn't trying to back then when they, you know what I'm saying, when it was all fair game, full fair let me clean my act up. I got a moral conscience. I can't do this no more. You feel what I'm saying? So
Right.
some are just forced to, like you said. You're right. You're right, because people are seeing the regular citizens, the civilians are seeing right through the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want to be looked at as the effed up executive, or the person they're going down in history as the person that, you know what I'm saying, messed up this artist's life or messed up this artist's career and shit like that. They don't want to be looked at as that.